Welcome to Suspended Fanimation's Con Survival Guide. I'm your host, Dennis Betholkis, and hopefully these are going to be a few tips that if you've never been to a con before will help you along the way and make your con a little bit better as an experience. So the first thing you're going to want is you're probably going to want a bag, something like this. Now, this is what I normally use at Comic-Con. It's a Think Geek bag. It's actually made for Comic-Con. It's called a Con Survival Bag. Unfortunately, Think Geek got bought out by GameStop, and they've been absorbed in there. At the 2019 Comic-Con, this will be probably their last booth, more than likely. So if you're going to be going to that, you can actually pick up one of these guys. And the nice thing about picking one of these guys up is they also give you a patch along with it for the Comic-Con that you're going to. As you can see, that's a 2018 patch. This is actually an older bag, and I still get the patches because the other nice thing about this is every time you go by the booth, they would give you a patch just for having the bag. So I got this little thing, and it just sticks right on there with Velcro, as so. Now, this is a messenger bag, so some people can't really deal with a messenger bag. They like backpacks instead, me included. So what I did was this year, and you're probably not going to be able to see this too well, but I've actually converted this into a backpack by adding some straps here. I actually sewed those in right there, these little D-rings, and for like 14 bucks, I believe it was, I got these little straps that fit on the back here, and turns it into a backpack. Works really, really well. It also holds a water bottle on the side there, and on the other side it's got a pass-through all the way here to hold poster tubes, lightsabers, things like that. Really, really handy. And it's also got two pouches on the inside there. One, if you're hell-bent on bringing a laptop, it'll hold that, but it'll hold everything else that you need, quite honestly. And it's small enough that you're not going to worry about filling this thing up or not having enough room in order to fill up with whatever stuff you're picking up during at the con, books and whatnot. You're going to be walking for a long, long time, and also standing in place for a long, long time. All of it's going to be on concrete. And let me tell you, even if you've been experienced at standing for long, long periods of time, I was a former bartender. I used to stand on my feet for a living a long, long time ago. And quite honestly, I've never had any kind of pain more painful than going to con my first couple of times. And you quite honestly want someone to amputate your legs from the knees down because of the pain of just standing there on concrete. I highly recommend a pair of comfortable shoes. So tennis shoes, something that actually has some arch support. And I even get Dr. Scholl's insoles and put those in there, or any other kind of insole that you want, and stick it inside your shoes and to walk around in during the day. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get another pair and slip some in before Comic-Con 2019 here. Do not wear flip-flops. There's a lot of people that are walking around and they are not watching where they are going. They are going to step on your feet. It happens every year. And if you're wearing flip-flops, they're going to be stepping directly on your bare foot. And it's not that pleasant of an experience. If you're dead set on bringing flip-flops, bring them in a bag. That way you can switch them out at the end of the day after you've been wearing your shoes. And unless you're cosplaying too and you need a certain pair of shoes, high heels, I'll tell you ladies right now, I've never had to wear them, thankfully, but I don't know how you can do that on concrete all day long, because damn, it's going to hurt quite a bit more than just regular shoes. But definitely tennis shoes are the way to go. Hydration, snacks, and food. At the con, these things are really freaking expensive. It pays to bring your own, especially if you're with a group of people. You can go to Costco, Walmart, Target, whatever, buy a bulk of stuff and bring it along with you. It's always good to have, especially when you're in line, and or sitting in the con. If you're camping out during the day for like in Hall H and you're there all day, bring something along, like a little bit of trail mix. These are prepackaged. These are from Target, as a matter of fact. And you can also get, stuff like fig bars, Pringles and little cans, things like that. My favorite, of course, beef jerky, because, of course, you want a little bit of beef jerky to get you through the day. You don't want something that's got empty calories, like gummy bears and all that kind of stuff. Yes, you can bring that along with you, but it is going to lead to you getting thirstier in the meantime, and also not getting any protein. You really want some protein when you're doing these kind of things, or carbs, in order to get your spirit up a little bit, get your energy moving as you're there at con. And speaking of thirsty, bring a bottle of water, quite honestly. You know, these kind of things you can get at Costco fairly cheaply, and fill these things up. There's water fountains all over the place at con, and you can fill them up for free. There you go. That's the best thing to do. And also, maybe even bring a sandwich along, things like that. Pack it along, bring a little box lunch. Because again, I'm not kidding you, pizza there is like $10, $15 for a slice of pizza, and it's cardboard. You have to leave the convention center in order to get, and this is at San Diego Convention Center, or San Diego Comic-Con, I should say. You really have to leave the convention center in order to find some decent food at a decent price, and you have to walk a ways away. So it's always best to bring in your own stuff, and they're not going to hassle you about it, as long as it doesn't stink, and as long as you don't leave a mess. Bring along maybe some napkins too along with you. Now, depending where you are, if you're going to Comic-Con for the first time, it's really sunny down here. And alternately, it can also be very cloudy. But even with the clouds, you can still get a lot of UV rays coming through, and it can burn you pretty easily, as you can tell from my face. I live in the San Diego area. I work in the San Diego area. It's like this all the time. So what you're going to want, especially since most of the lines, the majority of the lines, all go outside at some point or another, take a baseball cap with you. Something like that. Or you can even do a boonie hat, you know, one of those hats, you know, with a wide brim that you can get in any Army Navy surplus store. And I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, an umbrella. You can see these little tiny umbrellas that you can buy at any kind of thrift store or you know, pharmacy, anything like that, and put it in your bag. Quite honestly, people have laughed at me when I've pulled this thing out at con, and then 15 minutes later go, oh, that's actually a really good idea. Exactly. That's because you want something like this to keep the sun from beating down on you and frying you. Skin cancer is no joke, and the heat here is really no joke. You're also going to have a lot of humidity as well. I also highly recommend that you get some sunscreen as well. Remember, sunscreen only lasts for about an hour max, even if you slather it on again. That's all it's supposed to do, is supposed to screen out the sun. It does not block out the sun unless you sunblock, which will make you look like you've put on a layer of some kind of white face cream, something like that. You can get one of these little guys like this. This is SPF 30. I highly recommend SPF 50 or more if you really want to. You can get these guys at any pharmacy for like $2, quite honestly. Go to the travel section and like Target, Walmart, anything like that, and you'll see all those little bins, and they have these guys for $2. Easy to buy, easy to put on, and honestly, you can share amongst yourselves as well. Make some friends while you're in line. Let's talk a little bit about hygiene while we're at it. Yes, you're a grown-up now at this point. Take a damn shower. Now that means washing all over, including your ass. Exactly. Wash your ass. Wash your ass. Seriously. Nothing is worse than BO with ass smell on top of it. So every single day, wash your ass. And on top of that, when you're washing, after you're done and you dry off, use some deodorant. Yes, don't use Axe body spray. Axe body spray is just nasty, especially when the heat starts kicking up. All you're doing is exuding out your BO on top of whatever perfume that stuff is. It's not deodorant. This is. Pick up some deodorant. Use it liberally. I can't recommend it enough. And like I said, shower every day. On top of that, you have what's called con crud. Everyone gets it at some point in time during the con. Everyone, it's actually has its own name now. Yes, con crud. It's usually a sickness that ends up getting spread around con, and of course it's because everyone's touching everything. Again, either hand sanitizer, and I found these little guys, which are kind of nice. They're Purell wipes, which will work as moist towelettes and also hand sanitizers as well. I used to carry a little bottle of hand sanitizers, but those things sometimes pop open and spill all over your bag. This is a much better alternative, quite honestly. And also, if you're shaking hands and whatnot, or, you know, touching other items, especially if you go to the video game section where people have all handled the same video console controls, all that kind of stuff, you definitely want to wipe your hands down afterwards. Or if you go into the bathroom at the convention center itself and you're like, oh my God, I think I've just contracted staph or something like that, from the toilet seat, you can wipe yourself down with one of those things. Finally, Listerine or some kind of mouthwash or something like that, or gum. Bring something like that along and rinse out. Gum is actually really, really good. You can use it in a pinch and it doesn't take up much room. Yes, some kind of mouthwash is probably going to take up a bit more space and be a little more problematic. But in the end, when you're meeting that star or actor or writer or something like that, or somebody that you like, they're going to notice your breath when you're talking to them. They do, yes. So do yourself a favor, do them a favor, do the rest of us all a favor, baby. Use that. Use some deodorant. Use soap and water every single day. That's all I'm going to say. The last thing I'm going to say about that, wash your ass. Plain and simple. Another thing at con that a lot of people overlook is first aid. Yes, you're going to be walking around quite a bit, and you're also going to get blisters on your feet. You're also, you know, sometimes you might have a little owie kind of thing as well, where you get a scratch or a cut or something like that. Even headaches, stuff like that. Best thing to have is a little tiny first aid kit. Again, I just looked this thing up at Target just today. It's $1.09 in the travel section. This thing holds Band-Aids, ointment. You can put some aspirin in there too, or any kind of painkillers that you want. I usually put a little bit of Advil in there myself, something like that. And that works, quite honestly, really, really well. And again, it might not just be for you, it might be for other people in line. I've actually handed out Band-Aids to people in line that have gotten a cut that they didn't realize they had that's bleeding profusely. And it's nice to have a little bit of Band-Aids there with you. It sounds ridiculous until you actually need it, and then you have to look around to find out where you're going to get, you know, first aid. And there's only one first aid place in Comic-Con at San Diego, so that's the best place to go and get it, is carrying it yourself. Now, if you've joined us in the 21st century along with the rest of humanity, you probably have some kind of cell phone, smartphone, tablet, camera, whatever you're going to bring with you to capture pictures, movies, make phone calls, all that kind of stuff. And that stuff uses electricity to run, right? It has batteries and all that kind of stuff. You're going to want something to charge it. Now, there aren't a lot of plugs there, and you also just don't want to sit around wasting your con time waiting for stuff to charge. Get yourself a battery charger. Something that's small, something that will actually, you know, charge your phone, your tablet, whatever it is that you want. This guy is an Anchor, is what it is, and it works really, really well. I've been using this thing for a couple of years now, and fairly inexpensive. You can go to any, like, Best Buy, Fry's, electronics, I think you can even go to Target and stuff like that, Walmart, yeah, and all that stuff, and pick one of these guys up fairly cheap for like 20-30 bucks. And these things work wonderfully. You can even use them while you can charge your phone while you're using them as well. I carry two of these guys with me. I rarely had to go through both of them. So there you go. Now, you may want to get stuff signed by an artist or done by an artist, like a small little sketch, maybe get an autograph, something like that. So it's always best to bring along a little book along the way there. This one, of course, is blank, has blank pages, if I can actually open it up there. So you can go through and have someone sign it. And if you're going to say, well, what if they don't have any pens? That's the other thing you should bring along too. Bring along some pens, some Sharpies, whatnot. I always bring along a little tiny baggie full of stuff because I like to draw too while I'm there. Sometimes you're in line for a long time. And again, if you're in line for a long time and you're bored, bring along a book. You can bring along a digital book. If you have tablets, that kind of stuff, you can download a whole bunch of stuff. And also remember, they're giving away free comics there at Comic-Con. You can always grab some of those and read those while you're in line. Or you can buy them there too. They sell comics there as well. I know, it's a surprise. A place called Comic-Con that actually sells comics. It's always something to do in line while you're there. And again, I can't stress this enough. You're going to be in a lot of lines for things. Even if you're just buying stuff too, you're going to be in line for a while for the really popular stuff. So always good to be prepared. Now, while at Comic-Con, there's lots and lots of lines. You're going to be spending a good majority of the portion of your time there in lines for something. There are no chairs. It's all concrete. And it hurts like hell. And you're going to be there for hours sometimes, depending on what you're going into. I always bring along this. It's actually a little camping chair. It's from Coleman. And quite honestly, it just folds out like so. If I can actually do this online. And it folds straight into a little chair just like so. And this holds up to about 230 pounds, if I remember correctly. So that is perfect for a good majority of people. Maybe not for some other people, but it works really, really well. And it folds up just nicely enough to fit inside a bag or a backpack or anything like that. It's very, very slim, and it comes with its own little bag as well. This will save your ass quite literally and your feet. So I highly recommend getting something like this to bring along with you. So this isn't the end-all be-all of Comic-Con survival guides, or con survival guides, if you will. If stuff doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. This is what's worked for me over the years. I've been going to Comic-Con for, I think this is my 18th or 19th, maybe my 20th time. I can't remember, quite honestly. But I've gone to so many different conventions, things like that, that this actually works for me. All this kind of stuff that I brought with me. And every now and then there's something I don't use. So it does happen. But the majority of the stuff I do use. I mean, every time I go to con. And it works for me. It's always nice to have it there rather than not have it when I don't need it. You know, when I do need it, I should say. So again, it's not the end-all be-all of guides. Use what works for you. And again, just in summary, hygiene is one of the most important things. Wash yourself every day. Your kids also. Tell them that they're not going to con unless you wash them every single day. I'm sorry, but yeah, even the little ones, they stink to high hell. And you need to clean them up a bit before they go out. Don't bring anything also that has wheels on it, because you're not going to be able to wheel stuff around on the cart, you know, on the floor. Quite honestly, we do stuff what's called the con shuffle. You cannot walk like a normal human being. You walk like you're shuffling your feet, because you're in a room full of, well, you're in a convention center with 150,000 people. Yes, 150,000 people. It gets crowded. Yes, it does. It's hard to walk. And at times you're going to be in gridlock, things like that. That's the other thing. Have a good attitude while you're there as well. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's there to see the same thing. Everyone's there to have a good time. If you're not having a good time or a good day or something like that, stay home then, quite honestly. No one wants to deal with that kind of stuff. You know, yes, you're going to have a different experience. You know, each person has a different experience when they go to these things, and everyone wants to have a fun experience. So above all, have fun, enjoy what you're going to go and see, and just remember, everyone's there to have a good time. You are too. Enjoy yourself. If you don't get into one panel, go to another. Have some backups, all that kind of stuff. That's what the scheduling is there for. You'll be surprised what you can find out if you try something outside of your box. and the box that you're used to, I should say. I've done it before, and quite honestly, it's one of those things I look forward to at con. Is like, okay, what random room am I going to go into today? And I do that sometimes, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Sometimes I'm also disappointed as well. It does happen, but hey, and those are some of the big panels too I've been disappointed by. But you can't win them all. So again, backpack, hygiene, sunscreen, lots and lots of sunscreen, sun protection as well. Snacks and hydration, definitely snacks and hydration. And above all, have a good time. And maybe I'll see you there. All right? So this is Dennis from Suspended Fanimation. Take a look at suspendedfanimation.com. You can also take a look at my Facebook page. I have all that stuff up there as well. I have an Instagram. I have a Twitter account. And I also have a Patreon. The Patreon, of course, doesn't have tiers at the moment, but I am working on that. I'm getting to that. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, which hopefully you are, take a look at my channel. Subscribe to it if you like what you see. And I will see you at con. Have a good time, and be safe out there.